Hey everybody, Chris Jolly, NovaHoops.com. I am here to preview the Concorde District boys, kind of known as a football district, but they play basketball too, also very well. Madison and Centerville in football playing right now for the region title in football. I don't know what happened. All I know is pretty soon there ain't going to be any more football, and we're going to have to talk nothing but basketball. That's what we'll start right now. Let's look at the Concord standings from last year, where you had Madison and South Lakes both at 9-1 in the district. They kind of ran away with it. They beat each other during the regular season. Then South Lakes went on to win the district tournament and then the regional tournament. Now, both South Lakes and Madison lost very, very good senior classes. So you think the rest of the district might have a chance to kind of overtake those two teams this year. Well, they still have a chance, but you got to look at Madison and South Lakes still as the favorites. I'll tell you why. The Madison Warhawks lost a lot of ball handling and shooting with a good senior class, but they bring a lot back, and it starts with Joey Shalaby. I hope I pronounced that right, Joey. Joey's a fantastic ball player. He's a guard. He's going to be very important to Madison. He really does it all. He's a taller guard. He's strong. He's smart. He can play defense. He can lead the break. He's an excellent passer. He's kind of got to be that niche in the Warhawks lineup that isn't going to come out of the game that often because the Warhawks really need him there. And he is going to do some good work this year. We think he can be an up to a 20 points a game scorer. Depends how much. He's going to play a lot of point as well. He's going to handle the ball a lot, so he may not score that much. But he's capable of it. There's no doubt about it. And that's a big reason Madison's, again, going to be tough this year. But he's got help. He's got guys like at the forward spot, he's got senior Jack Kaminsky and junior Miles Franklin, who is a very athletic player. He's got a 6'7" kid, sophomore named Wyatt Norton. Brings a lot of height. That's a pretty good front line there that the Warhawks should be able to score inside a little bit better than they did last year. Now, traditionally, Kevin Roller's teams, at least in the last few years, have been very reliant on the three-point shot. That's still going to be a big part of their offense, but it might not necessarily be the end-all, be-all. If they're not hitting from three, they'll be able to punch the ball a little bit inside, get some buckets. Not that they didn't last year, but this year they've got some pretty imposing height down low. So we'll see how that shakes out. But Madison, we watched in the scrimmage the other day. They answered a lot of questions for us. They look to be very solid again, and they look to be one of the favorites. Now, if Madison lost a good senior class, South Lakes definitely lost a really good senior class. All 5 starters are gone from last year. Tang, Cooley, Finney, all those guys. A lot of them playing college basketball right now. That was a noted senior class in South Lakes history. They're gone. You would think South Lakes, this might be a rebuilding year. Not so much. You've got Jordan Scott, who's only a sophomore. He was a freshman on the varsity last year. He's one of the best shooters in the region already. He's 6'5", sophomore, already getting Division I looks. He's a great building block to start on there for Coach Mike Desmond. And you put him on one side of the floor with big Aiden Billings, who, and this is going to be a theme, is also a very good football player from South Lakes. He's a very big, strong kid. You put him in the post and Jordan on the perimeter there, that's one side of the floor that teams are not going to have a good time defending. So start with that with South Lakes, and they have more depth as well than you might think. Sol Vita was another guy on the varsity last year, a guard as a freshman. He's going to play a much bigger role this year, and South Lakes has the talent and depth to play some pretty good defense as well. So they're going to be a factor. They are playing, as usual, one of the toughest schedules around. So I think they are going to take some lumps early as players find their roles and know their roles. But they're going to be good. And I think by district play, they're going to be as good as anyone. So count them with Madison amongst the favorites. Now, if Madison and South Lakes may not fall that much, then it's up to the other teams to improve to catch them. And I think they may not catch Madison and South Lakes in the standings, but I think Madison and South Lakes this year are not going to go unblemished through the district like they did last year. I think the rest of the district will be generally improved, and I think the standings will be a lot closer this year. Let's start with Westfield. They had 11 non-seniors on their roster last year. I'm not sure how many of them are back, but a lot of them are back. Start with Kashantis Anderson there. Jaden Hale, a guy we really like. He's pictured here, a guard, very consistent. If you've got some height there with Michael Manser and some of the other guys, Westfield is going to be good. They have a lot of returnees. Obviously, a new system with Kevin Harris replacing Coach Ewell, but one very good coach, Kevin Harris, won a state title at Centerville. In fact, won 2 state titles at Centerville, and it wasn't all that long ago. So the big news there was Doug Ewell's retirement, but Kevin Harris replaces him, so you're getting a capable coach to replace a capable coach there. Westfield is going to be better this year. They're going to miss Will Vetter, who's one of their better players, who went on to play at Bridgewater. Fantastic shooter. That's a big loss for them, but they should be good this year. So they were about middle of the road last year. Expect them to be a little better this year. Now, Centerville had an okay year, a little down by their standards last year. They're going to have a little tougher road because they lost 2 important kids to transfer. Tristan Alvarez, their talented point guard, transferred, as did Doyle Brown to Flint Hill. Doyle Brown, a do-everything scorer who put in, I think, 20-some a game for him last year. Those are going to be guys that it's hard to replace. But Centerville has a lot of young talent. They're going with 5 sophomores and 2 freshmen on their roster this year, so they're going to be very young. They're going to take their lumps. But some of the good news, while they lost some kids to transfer, they gained a nice piece to transfer in Marcus Gibson, who comes over from Robinson. Gibson's a small forward type that can play. He can shoot a little bit, but very athletic. Really nice piece they got. His senior leadership will help Coach Turner a lot, trying to make the Wildcats get to where they want to be, which is the top half of the district, and to make a run at regionals. Now, with that young talent, it's going to be a tough road. Can they get there by the end of the season? Yes, though, because those young guys can play. So we'll see what happens there. Now let's talk about the deep sleeper in this district that people are talking about, and that's Oakton. You see Brandon Logan pictured him. You see the length on Brandon Logan. He's one of a few returnees. Now, in prior years, Oakton hasn't had that much depth. They've had talent, but they haven't had that much depth, and they haven't had that much athleticism, again, throughout their roster. So they've normally played a slower, more deliberate pace. The rumor this year is they're going to go a little bit more up-tempo, and they do have depth. They did lose some important pieces like Sean Toole from last year, but a good GAV joins guys like Logan and Ryan Rosenblatt, some of those other guys. So they should have a deeper rotation this year, and they should have some athleticism. So we'll see where that gets them. Now, they're going to still take some lumps as well because they have to, if they're playing a new system, it's going to take them a while. But I think by Concorde District play time, and certainly by Concorde District tournament time, Oakton could be a deep sleeper that could go on one of these runs through regionals a little bit and scare some teams. So we'll see what happens there. They're going to be fun to watch. We'll get out and see them pretty early just to see if they are playing up-tempo, because they certainly haven't in previous years. So that'll be an interesting thing to watch. Deep sleeper. Deeper sleeper is Chantilly, because they finished the bottom of the division last year, and they lost a good senior class. Brendan Myers and 7 other seniors. So that's a lot to lose. But Chantilly is slowly coming along, so we think they'll actually be better than they were last year. You got Ved Desai and some other guys there. You have some height, you have some young talent, and you have some athleticism. They're well coached over there, so we think they're going to make a little bit of a jump forward. But in this district, man, to finish the top half of this district for the Chargers, that would be a trick because the district is very competitive. I think there's no off nights in the Concorde, and it's going to be tough for Chantilly to do much better than they did last year in the standings. But I think they will improve, and you'll see it in non-district play. So anyway, that's my take on the Concorde district. Should be a fun district. There's more than just football, as you can see in it. Some really good players this year. We'll see where these teams end up. They'll clash again with the Liberty in the 60 regional playoffs. We'll see if any of them are worthy to get in the States.